What if the wisest man in history, a king blessed with divine wisdom, unmatched wealth, and global fame, ended his life in spiritual ruin? The tragic final days of King Solomon challenge everything we think we know about success and faith. Why would a man who built the temple of God turn to idols? Why did his glorious kingdom crumble under the weight of his decisions? In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth behind Solomon's fall, revealing lessons that could transform your spiritual journey. Stay with us until the end. You won't want to miss what this story reveals about your own path today. The path to Solomon's throne wasn't a tranquil one. Amid the simmering tensions of King David's final days, rivalries erupted within the royal family. Solomon's older brother, Adonijah, sought to seize the throne, rallying influential allies. But destiny had other plans. Guided by divine intervention and his mother Bathsheba's decisive advocacy, Solomon secured his place as Israel's king. Have you ever reflected on how pivotal moments often hinge on unwavering faith and courage in the face of adversity? Once crowned, Solomon understood the weight of his calling. Unlike a typical monarch, he didn't rely solely on military might or political schemes. Instead, he sought wisdom. In a remarkable dream, God offered him anything he desired. Solomon's request: not wealth or power, but discernment to govern his people. This humble plea reminds us that true greatness often lies in prioritizing others' well-being over personal gain. What would you ask for if you stood before God with a blank slate? Solomon's early reign was a period of consolidation and strategy. One of his first acts was to fulfill his father David's instructions, ensuring a stable kingdom. He addressed lingering threats, executing justice where needed, and uniting factions within the nation. Through his decisive actions, Solomon proved that leadership requires both vision and the courage to act when stakes are high. Isn't it fascinating how every bold decision can shape the course of history? But Solomon's ascent wasn't just about power, it was about purpose. He viewed his kingship as a divine mission, particularly in realizing the dream of building the Temple of Jerusalem. This wasn't merely an architectural endeavor, it was a spiritual commitment to honor God. The early years of his rule highlight a leader who balanced pragmatism with an unwavering dedication to higher ideals. What higher purpose guides your decisions today? As Solomon took his first steps as king, his journey set the stage for one of the most transformative reigns in Israel's history. Each challenge he faced was a stepping stone to his destiny. From family intrigue to divine favor, his ascent to power wasn't just a story of triumph, it was a testament to the profound impact of faith-driven leadership. With his legacy still unfolding, his early reign posed the question: how can we align our actions with the divine plan for our lives? Solomon's reign began with an extraordinary reputation for wisdom, setting the tone for an era of peace and prosperity. His most famous act of judgment, a dispute between two women over a child, remains a timeless lesson in discernment. With a simple but profound solution, he revealed the truth, earning the awe of his people. Can you imagine the ripple effect of such wisdom in today's world? It's a reminder that true leadership isn't just about power, it's about the ability to see through to the heart of a matter. Under Solomon, Israel flourished like never before. Trade routes buzzed with activity, and wealth poured into the kingdom, creating an unparalleled period of economic prosperity. Gold, cedar wood, and spices became symbols of a thriving nation. The sense of abundance was palpable, with Solomon himself becoming a figurehead of success. But wealth wasn't just material, it was cultural and spiritual, too. Isn't it remarkable how a single leader's vision can uplift an entire community? Education and knowledge were also central to Solomon's rule. He authored proverbs and poems, sharing insights that transcended his time. These writings weren't just intellectual pursuits, they were tools for guiding people toward better lives. Even today, his proverbs serve as a roadmap for practical wisdom, addressing themes like discipline, integrity, and humility. Have you ever wondered how these ancient words could transform your own daily decisions? International admiration became a hallmark of Solomon's reign. Kings and queens from far-off lands came to witness his greatness, drawn by tales of his unmatched intellect and wealth. The Queen of Sheba's visit, for instance, wasn't just a diplomatic gesture, it was a testament to Israel's influence. Her astonishment at Solomon's wisdom and the grandeur of his court reflected how deeply his reputation resonated across borders. How often do we underestimate the power of reputation in shaping our opportunities? Yet, Solomon's highlights were about more than worldly success, they showcased a man fulfilling a divine promise. His reign was a reflection of God's blessings when a leader aligns with spiritual principles. The peace and unity that defined his kingdom set a standard for what Israel could achieve. What would our world look like if such harmony and purpose were prioritized today? Solomon's achievements invite us to reflect on the legacy we're building in our own lives. The construction of the Temple of Jerusalem was Solomon's crowning achievement, a project unlike anything Israel had ever seen. Using the finest materials, including gold, silver, and cedar from Lebanon, he spared no expense in creating a house for the Lord. Thousands of laborers worked in harmony to bring this vision to life, carving intricate details and laying each stone with care. Imagine standing before such a structure, its sheer grandeur inspiring awe and reverence. This wasn't just an architectural feat, it was a spiritual declaration. The temple symbolized God's presence among his people, offering a central place for worship and sacrifice. For the Israelites, it was a unifying force, a physical reminder of their covenant with God. Can you picture the joy of the first worshippers, stepping into a sacred space that reflected divine glory? It's a testament to how sacred spaces can draw us closer to our Creator. The dedication ceremony was equally monumental. Solomon himself led the prayers, and the Ark of the Covenant was placed in the Holy of Holies. As sacrifices were offered, the glory of the Lord filled the temple like a cloud, a moment so powerful it left the priests unable to stand. This wasn't merely ritual, it was a divine encounter, an affirmation of God's faithfulness. Have you ever experienced a moment where you felt God's presence so vividly? Yet, the temple's construction also carried a deeper message. It reflected the unity of Israel, with contributions coming from across the kingdom. Each stone laid represented the collective devotion of God's people. This cooperation reminds us that great achievements are rarely solitary, they're built on shared vision and effort. What legacy are we building together in our communities today? Though Solomon's temple stood as a beacon of faith, it also foreshadowed the responsibility of stewardship. The grandeur of the building was a call to remain faithful, to honor God not just in rituals but in daily life. As the temple became a center of spiritual life, it posed a question for every believer: how can we make our own lives a living temple, reflecting God's glory in everything we do? Solomon's reign wasn't only defined by wisdom but also by his exceptional diplomatic skill. His alliances extended Israel's influence far beyond its borders, creating a network of partnerships that enriched the kingdom. One of the most notable examples is his relationship with the Queen of Sheba, who traveled vast distances to witness his brilliance firsthand. Imagine her amazement as she witnessed not only Solomon's wisdom but the grandeur of his court, a testament to the respect he commanded worldwide. Trade agreements became a cornerstone of Solomon's diplomacy. By forming alliances with neighboring nations, he ensured a steady flow of precious resources like gold, ivory, and spices into Israel. These connections transformed the kingdom into a bustling hub of commerce, with ships carrying goods to and from distant lands. Can you envision the vibrant marketplaces filled with exotic treasures? Solomon's ability to foster cooperation across cultures was nothing short of revolutionary. Solomon also used marriage as a tool for diplomacy, solidifying ties with powerful neighbors through strategic unions. While controversial, these marriages were a reflection of his ability to navigate complex political landscapes. They brought peace and stability, ensuring Israel's security in an unpredictable region. However, they also carried risks, as these alliances sometimes introduced conflicting cultural and spiritual influences. What compromises are we willing to make for the sake of peace in our own lives? His diplomatic success wasn't just about strategy, it was about vision. Solomon understood the power of soft influence, where respect and shared prosperity replaced conquest and dominance. This approach not only elevated Israel's status but also reflected a broader principle, that collaboration often achieves what force cannot. How might this philosophy transform the way we handle conflicts today, whether in politics or personal relationships? Ultimately, Solomon's diplomacy laid the foundation for Israel's golden age. It demonstrated the potential of a leader who valued wisdom over aggression and connection over division. These alliances, while imperfect, showcased his ability to think beyond the immediate and plan for long-term prosperity. As we reflect on his legacy, we might ask ourselves, are we building bridges or barriers in the relationships that matter most? For all his wisdom and accomplishments, Solomon's reign was not without its struggles. As the years passed, his decisions began to reflect human frailty rather than divine guidance. His marriages to foreign women, hundreds of them, became a source of spiritual compromise. These unions introduced idol worship into Israel, eroding the nation's fidelity to God. Have you ever noticed how even small deviations from core principles can snowball into larger issues over time? This spiritual drift wasn't just a private matter, it rippled through the kingdom, creating tensions among the people. The once united nation began to fracture as loyalty to God wavered. The construction of high places for foreign gods was particularly symbolic of Solomon's moral decline. What started as diplomatic strategy eventually became a stumbling block, weakening the very foundation of Israel's identity. What are the high places in our lives that might be pulling us away from our own purpose? Politically, cracks began to form as well. Jeroboam, a prominent leader, rebelled against Solomon's rule, fueled by dissatisfaction among the northern tribes. The seeds of division that would later split the kingdom were planted during Solomon's reign. Despite his earlier diplomatic brilliance, the growing unrest highlighted the limits of even the wisest king's control when trust is broken. How do we mend relationships when they begin to unravel under the weight of unmet expectations? Economic pressures compounded the challenges. The grandeur of Solomon's projects came at a cost, and heavy taxation and forced labor sparked resentment among the people. The very prosperity that marked the early years of his reign began to feel like a burden. This dynamic raises a critical question: how do we balance ambition with the well-being of those we serve? It's a timeless tension that leaders of all kinds must navigate. In his final years, Solomon seemed to drift from the divine purpose that once defined him. His story serves as both a cautionary tale and a reflection of human nature, the struggle to stay aligned with what truly matters amid life's distractions. Despite his failings, Solomon's life invites us to reflect on our own journeys. How can we remain steadfast in our faith and values, even when tempted by the allure of worldly success? Solomon's 40-year reign left an indelible mark on Israel's history, shaping the nation in ways both glorious and complex. His crowning achievements, such as the Temple of Jerusalem, symbolized a golden era of faith and prosperity. This grand structure wasn't just a testament to his architectural ambition but a sacred space that unified the people and honored God. Even today, the temple remains a powerful symbol of devotion and divine presence. What legacies are we building that will stand the test of time? Yet, Solomon's legacy is a paradox. His wisdom and literary contributions, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and the Song of Solomon, continue to inspire and guide millions. These works reveal a man who understood the depths of human experience, offering timeless lessons on life, love, and purpose. At the same time, his later years reflect a departure from the very principles he once espoused. Isn't it fascinating how one person's life can hold both profound insight and cautionary lessons? The fractures that emerged during his reign left a shadow over his legacy. After Solomon's death, the kingdom divided, fulfilling the prophecy of judgment for his spiritual compromises. This division marked the end of Israel's united golden age and began a period of turmoil. It's a sobering reminder that even the wisest among us are not immune to the consequences of their choices. How do we ensure our actions today don't jeopardize the futures we hope to build? Despite these challenges, Solomon's story is ultimately one of redemption and reflection. His writings, especially in Ecclesiastes, capture a man wrestling with the meaning of life and the fleeting nature of worldly pursuits. Everything is meaningless, he writes, apart from a life centered on God. This profound conclusion resonates deeply, inviting each of us to examine our own priorities. What truly matters in the face of eternity? In the end, Solomon's legacy is a mirror, reflecting both our potential for greatness and our vulnerability to fall. His life challenges us to embrace wisdom, pursue purpose, and remain steadfast in our faith. As we consider his impact, we're left with a question: what will our own legacies say about us? Will they be marked by alignment with God's plan, or will they serve as cautionary tales for future generations? King Solomon's story is more than history, it's a mirror reflecting our own struggles with wisdom, purpose, and faith. His life invites us to ask, are we building legacies that align with God's plan, or are we letting distractions lead us astray? The lessons from his rise and fall challenge us to prioritize what truly matters and remain steadfast in our spiritual journeys. If you've ever felt unsure about where to start or how to deepen your understanding of the Bible, you're not alone. Imagine having a guide that simplifies these complex stories and helps you uncover their relevance in your daily life. That's why I encourage you to explore the ebook linked in the first comment. It's designed to take your journey of faith to the next level. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What stood out most to you in Solomon's story? Which lessons will you apply to your life starting today? Let me know in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into biblical wisdom. Thank you for being part of this journey. Your dedication to growing in faith inspires me to keep creating. Let's continue exploring the Bible's incredible stories together.